Okay guys, here it is. The video I've been talking about. So, the Academy Awards is going to be tomorrow, and we all know the movie Get Out is going to be featured in it in quite a few places. They've been nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role, let's see, Best Original Screenplay, Best Director, forgot the exact title, and of course the big one, Best Motion Picture. So of this movie, as a hypnotherapist, I'm a little bit conflicted, as I'm sure you can imagine. So, with this movie, it was a good movie. You know, it had a great plot, it had a great storyline. It was interesting to watch. There was a few scenes in there that, you know, aside from the hypnosis part, it was a little bit drab. You know, it was just kind of had a lower kind of mood, a lower tone, just kind of made me feel unpleasant. It was like, it's probably just because the situation that guy was in, Chris, the character, wasn't a situation anybody would want to be in, and everything was just weird. Everybody was acting weird. There was no normal ever since he and his girlfriend got to the house. Everybody was weird. So it was like kind of that whole tone of the movie in that one part that just kind of threw me a little bit. It was a little bit unpleasant, you know, it wasn't that great a scene, but, you know, at least they set the tone for what was to come. So I've got to talk about the one big scene. It was my favorite scene in the entire movie, and it's the poster for the entire movie itself. It's that scene where he's being hypnotized for the first time, and he's got tears running down his face. I don't even know what part to talk about yet. Well, let's start on the positive. So it was a good movie, you know. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was a good plot, a really original, interesting kind of plot that they had to it. And the hypnosis scene, I loved watching that scene, despite the fact that none of that was real. That's not how hypnosis works to even the slightest extent of the imagination. It was a good scene, it was well written, very well acted out, and damn, Chris played he played such a good character. It's like his character in that movie was just phenomenal. His acting off the charts on that. I don't know how even some people can be put in those situations with cameras and lights and so many people around them and act in such perfection. You know, I'm not trying to make him sound like, you know, the next Meryl Streep or anything, but he was really good in that scene. It was just a really great scene to watch. I loved it, how they put it together. The part where he starts to realize what she's doing. She's hypnotizing him, and he's like almost to that place. I guess you can kind of consider it that place just before the hypnotist suggests the word sleep. He just before reaching that place, she says, if I remember correctly, "Now I want you to sink." And he's like, no, wait, sink. So just the way they wrote that scene was perfection. I loved that scene. It was such a great scene. Definitely my favorite in the entire movie. And of course, right after that word, sink, and I guess that's the magic word. It's equivalent to the word sleep that we as hypnotherapists use. And then how he just quite literally sinks into his bed and then off into the blackness of his mind, where he seemingly has no control and he's just paralyzed. He can't move, he can't do anything. Now my opinion on how it really works, because we all know that's not how it works. This pretty much goes without saying, it's not how it works. So with real actual hypnosis, we suggest the word sleep, and by all outward appearances, when a client or a stage hypnotist, sorry, there's a cop right behind me going by. In that scene, or in that time where we suggest the word sleep, and they kind of sink, you know, by all outward appearances, it looks like they're losing all body motor functions. They can't move anything. Their eyes are closed. They can't see. They can't hear. It looks like they're just blacked out and they're just totally out of it. That's not true. If they were blacked out, then they wouldn't even hear the hypnotist suggestions. So a lot of people, they think that hypnosis works by when you're in that state that you're just blacked out, you're out of it. And that's just not true. If, like I said, if they were out of it, then they wouldn't hear anybody. Not the audience, not the stage hypnotist, nobody. So, that's one thing that's just simply doesn't work that way. You're not blacked out. The other part is, like the stage hypnotist might raise their hand and say, okay, now they're completely limp and loose, just like a rag doll, like that. Doesn't work that way. The reason that it looks like that is because of two things. One, either the stage hypnotist suggested that they just relax their body like a limp wet noodle, if I can speak correctly, and that's it. And the other part is they've seen other stage hypnosis shows or movies or TV. A lot of hypnotists or hypnosis is portrayed in the media, and it looks like they're kind of zombies and they can't move and they're paralyzed, and therefore that's what they've seen other people do, and they react that same way accordingly because they suggested it to themselves. So that's the only time that you're ever going to be limp and loose, just like a rag doll, just like that, is if the hypnotist suggested that's what it's going to be, or if you suggested it to yourself that that's what it's going to be like. Then, of course, then you do it all by yourself. Now, when you're in that state of hypnosis, yes, how can I explain this? When you're in that state of hypnosis, yes, hypnosis is real. We all as human beings go in a natural state of hypnosis several times a day. We just don't know it. I'll go back to that in a moment. But on stage, it's not the hypnotist that's actually in control. It's you, the client, or the person up on the stage, the subject, whatever you want to call yourself. You are the one in 100% complete control. Nobody else has the ability to say. They can't tell you what to say. They can't make you say something that you otherwise don't want to say, and they can't make you do things that you otherwise don't want to do, or that's really contrary to your personal beliefs. So with stage hypnosis, or even what they portrayed in the movie, they made it look like the hypnotist is the one in full control, and they've got the client under their thumb. And that's just the complete opposite of how it works. So you as the client is actually the one in total complete control, not the hypnotist. To further prove this, I made another video, and granted, yes, this information is coming from me, but the source is from the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. They've got a long history of trying to use hypnosis in the interrogation setting, to see if they can get their subjects, their prisoners, their captors, to confess information that they otherwise don't want to confess. You can watch that video. You just search the term hypnosis and interrogation, or you can just look it up on my playlist. It'll be right there next to it. Some of that information is coming from me, but most of the information is just documented fact. It's on the CIA website, and I show pictures and scroll through all that stuff online, and in the video so you can see it. So it's not just me that this information is coming from. It's from multiple sources and from the CIA itself. So they tried it. They tried to use hypnosis in the interrogation setting. They tried to use it as a form of mind control to get people to be assassins when they're originally not. And they failed every single step of the way. But you can watch more details of that in that video, Hypnosis and Interrogation. To go back to what I was talking about, it's not my control. You are the one, as a client, in total, complete control, not me as the hypnotherapist. So, for example, I could suggest or even ask you to relax, and it's entirely up to you to relax. I can't make you relax, nor can you force yourself to relax. But you can instead allow yourself to invite that relaxing feeling to come over, and then naturally, of course, you'll be relaxed. You can't force yourself to go deeper, nor can I force you to go deeper. So the fact that she says sink and he goes deeper, it looks like she's controlling him, and obviously that's not true. He's the one actually that's in total control, but this is a fictional movie that's based on total pure fiction, fantasy. It's got no say in real life whatsoever. So let's talk about the part where it's truly mind control and he can't do anything. So she uses, as a hypnotherapist, a teacup. In my office you'll never see a teacup. I drink tea, but I don't have any kind of need to use it in any kind of hypnosis portrayal or anything like that. I simply suggest the word sleep and snap my fingers, and then that's it. But even then, it's still entirely up to the client if they want to go there or not. So with the teacup, that's kind of like her thing. That's like her way of snapping her fingers and suggesting the word sleep. But for her, the word sleep is just simply, hang on a second. Hey there. No, actually, I'm just parking for a few minutes, and I'll be leaving in just a few seconds.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I was going to talk about is, in that portrayal, she uses the teacup as, the way we as hypnotists snap our fingers and suggest the word sleep. So I don't use a teacup. I just simply snap my fingers and suggest the word sleep, and the client goes there. Okay, well, let's see if we can do this a little better. Better lighting? Okay, that's better. So with this, it's how they portray it in the movie. That's not entirely accurate. It's far from it. It's just not true. It's not how it works at all, by any stretch of the imagination. I'll talk about the part where I mentioned before. So hypnosis is a natural state of mind that we all go into on a daily basis. We just don't know it. So the reason we as human beings have the psychology of going in hypnosis for the first place several times a day is to vent out excess information, or what we as hypnotherapists call message units. So what that is from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep, all we do is accumulate more and more information, and we have to vent out and purge that excess information that doesn't mean anything to our lives, and keep the stuff that really does mean stuff, or mean something to us. So for example, there's 5 sources of information that's coming at us all day long, and it doesn't stop until you actually go to sleep and you're unconscious. One source is everything you see around you, everything, my car, what I'm wearing, my glasses, my hair, everything you see around you. That's the visual part of life is coming into you. That's one stream of information that builds up. The other part is everything that you hear around you, the outside sounds, the girl talking out there, the sound of my engine, everything else that's going on along the street. And on top of that, you have everything that I'm telling you, everything you hear from the media, your outside sources of information or influences. That's your third stream of information that's just nonstop. So we're always listening to the radio, watching a movie, or watching TV, or talking to a friend, or whatever. And another part is everything you tell yourself with your own thoughts. I'm bored, I want to do this, I want to do that. You might be figuring out some sort of situation or something that's going on in your life. And lastly, what your body tells you. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hungry, feed me, and so on. So that's 5 sources of information that builds up, and builds up all day long, and we have to purge and get rid of that excess crap that we don't need. So that's what we go in a state of hypnosis to do that for. And while we're in a state of hypnosis, we're not blacked out and zombies or completely limp and loose like a rag doll. That would be completely contrary to what we need to do. So when we're in a state of hypnosis, it's actually happening on the back burner, way back in the subconscious mind, and we have no idea that it's actually happening at that time cognitively. So as we're venting out and purging that excess information, we're not thinking, okay, dump this, keep this, dump this, keep this, and so on. It happens completely on its own on the subconscious level, just like our breathing or our heartbeat. We can't make our heartbeat goes faster or slower, unless of course there's some sort of physiological exercise that we're doing to calm, relax, or to vent out anxiety or whatever. But hypnosis works the same exact way when we vent out and purge that excess information. And while we're in that state of hypnosis, we're highly suggestible. We're not 100% suggestible, we're just simply highly suggestible, more suggestible than we are on our normal cognitive daily routines. Those people who are more suggestible than others, that's what you call them as gullible. So they'll believe anything, and then they'll be, oh, wait a second, you're just pulling my leg, aren't you? So those are people who are just naturally highly suggestible. With hypnosis, so as hypnotherapists, we're actually not using hypnosis for what it's really meant to be. and that's the fact that it's purging and venting out excess information. So in the office, as a client, I'm not having you go in there and purge and vent out excess information. I'm having you enter a heightened state of mind where you're actually more aware, and highly suggestible. So that way you can take in whatever suggestions that you and me come up with together. And those suggestions aren't what I want you to do, because it doesn't work that way. If you don't truly want to quit smoking, for example, then it's not going to work on you. You have to want to quit smoking. You can't be influenced by, a girlfriend or a boyfriend telling you to quit smoking. That's them that they want you to quit, not you. You alone have to want to quit smoking, and then, of course, hypnotherapy to quit smoking will work for you. So all the suggestions that I come up with is always based on each individual client, based on their suggestibility, how suggestible they are, what kind of suggestions they take in, and their psychological makeup, their motivations, what's going to get them to want to quit smoking, and so on. And I just simply reinforce those suggestions in hypnosis, and that's stuff that they've already cognitively, consciously thought about. I'm just helping them to get into their subconscious mind, so that way they can achieve those goals. So hypnosis is just simply the fact that you're a more heightened aware, and you're highly suggestible, more suggestible than you are otherwise. And the suggestion that I give you just simply reinforces what you were cognitively or consciously thinking for so long. I'm just helping you to get it down into your subconscious mind. So hypnosis is the fact that you're purging, and the side effect or the byproduct of hypnosis while you're purging is that you're highly suggestible, because your mind is preoccupied doing something else on the back burner. So we also have different levels of hypnosis as well, different levels of consciousness, and obviously several different levels of sleep. The way I summarize it is we have 5 levels. We have your alpha level at the very top, your A state. That's when you're fully aware, you're conscious, you see everything, you know everything that's going on around you, and so on. B, C, and D states, those are all states of hypnosis. And then E state, echo, and everything below is just simply when you're unconscious and asleep. So despite the fact that I may, during several parts of your session, actually I'll suggest the word sleep to you, you're not going to be unconscious and you're not going to be asleep. The way we enter the hypnosis is progressively down through each level. We don't just jump from fully aware, fully conscious into deep state of hypnosis when you're just out of it. It doesn't work that way. So when we first start, you're in a B state. Right after the word I suggest the word sleep, you're in a B state. So you're at the very top of that level of hypnosis, and you're very lightly suggestible, and you're in a very light state of mind. You're a very light hypnotic state of mind, rather. C state is the medium state of hypnosis. D state, the delta level, that's where you're in a very deep state of hypnosis. And D state, just before the E state, it's where it's kind of gray area. You don't really know, am I awake or am I asleep? I think I'm awake, therefore I must be awake. Yet, my body is like I'm almost kind of snoring at some parts. So we go to those levels progressively. We don't just jump from A to E, and we don't go from E to A at the top either. So we actually, when we fall asleep at night, we have to go through a state of hypnosis in order to reach that unconscious state of mind. Just like I said, we can't jump from A all the way down to E. When we get in bed, we can't say sleep and then we're just out of it. As much as it would be nice if it worked that way. But we have to progressively relax, go into the deeper state of hypnosis where you're highly suggestible. And when you're in that very deep state of hypnosis, you're very highly suggestible. And that's where you've kind of had bizarre, weird thoughts every here and there. And then you're not quite sure if you're awake or asleep. It's that kind of gray zone. And then you're blacked out and you're out of it. And that's when you're unconscious and asleep. So again, that's not the level I'm taking you to when you're in a state of hypnosis. I'm not taking you all the way down to E. In your first session, you're going to start with a very light state of hypnosis, and that's probably where you're going to stay. Some people reach the medium state, and very few people reach the delta state in the first session. And occasionally, yeah, sometimes clients do fall asleep in the chair. And the reason for that is because we're so used to going in a state of hypnosis and then falling asleep that when I take clients into hypnosis in office, their mind is used to that. That's their association. I'm fully aware, then I go into hypnosis, and then I go to sleep. Therefore, that's what they expect to happen next. And of course, I don't want my clients to fall asleep. It makes my job a little bit easier when they're fully awake, because that way they can remember the suggestions that I give them. I don't want them to be completely blacked out and not remember anything. While yes, the suggestions that I give them will still work while they're in a state of hypnosis, or not a state of hypnosis, but while they're asleep, they can still hear me and take in those suggestions. But I would rather prefer them to be fully awake, so that way they can remember the suggestions that I actually give them. So going back to really the movie, and what the movie portrayed, it was a great storyline, it was a great movie, I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the part where they set up the whole atmosphere and everything is just weird. Everybody's reacting weird with a weird smile, a weird look on their face. But I like the plot and I like where they took it, and I like the fact that it wasn't purely hypnosis that they used to control these people's minds. I don't want to give any kind of spoilers or anything like that because this is a completely spoiler-free video. But you can just watch the movie yourself and make your own opinions. With hypnosis that they portrayed in that movie, however, this is where my conflict in that movie comes in. It was a great movie, I enjoyed watching it, it was very entertaining, but the way I summarize it is they raped and murdered my profession in that movie. Now, Jordan Peele, I grew up watching you on Mad TV, and I loved the skits that you did. You were a great actor, and it just made me laugh hysterically. In that movie, you did great. I wasn't expecting such great directing in that movie. It's like, where did that come from? I only knew you as the actor. Even the silly kind of off-personality FBI agent that you played in the series Fargo, in season 1, if I remember correctly. Or maybe, no, that was season, I think it was actually season 1. And how you're just non-stop talking is like, I enjoyed that character. It's like, how do you go from that character, that acting, to this serious role of directing and accomplishing what you did in that movie? Great directing. It's like, I really loved it. I really loved the movie. I really was surprised by it. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it really was, because I knew they were going to be using hypnosis in that movie, and I've seen everything else when it comes to hypnosis in movies and media and TV and stage hypnosis, and none of what they show in the media or movies is just true. It's just so far off. So that's what I was really expecting, and yes, that's exactly what you gave to me as well. But you went even further in reinforcing the entire population's misconceptions about hypnosis, what it is and how it works. So take everything, the way I summarize it is, take everything you guys know about hypnosis, those of you who are not hypnotherapists, and turn that to the complete opposite, and that's probably going to be how real hypnosis really truly actually works. So you're not blacked out. You are the one in control, not the hypnotist, so it's not mind control. And yeah, you will remember everything that's said and done in session. It's not a scary or an alternate state of mind or something you've never experienced before, because remember, you go into state of hypnosis naturally several times a day, you just don't even realize it. So you're very accustomed to that state of mind. And that means, of course, if you go into that state of hypnosis naturally, you come out of it naturally. So it's not possible to get stuck in a state of hypnosis either. So I'm going to wrap this video up with just by saying, repeating myself that yes, it was a great movie. I didn't like how they portrayed my profession, because they raped and murdered my profession in that movie. But it was really a good, entertaining movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to be expecting to watch them on the Oscars tomorrow night. The odds of them getting Best Picture, far from it. I'm glad that they were nominated because they deserve that kind of recognition, but I don't see them winning Best Picture, but we'll see what happens tomorrow night. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. I love having conversations back and forth. And if you guys want to know anything more about hypnosis, how it really works, or if you guys seen something on YouTube or the media or TV or heard something about hypnosis and you don't want to know if that's true or how it works, let me know. Leave me a comment, let me know, ask me a question, and I'll make even another video out of that comment and explain all the ins and outs of what hypnosis truly is and how it doesn't work. That way you have a really good understanding. And the purpose of making this video isn't to help more clients find me in my office or anything like that. It's just to simply tear down all the misconceptions and all the myths around hypnosis that we understand hypnosis, how it works today, as this big scary thing that some people can do and other people can't. Because everybody can be hypnotized and everybody can accomplish some amazing things in hypnosis. And yes, I've seen some really interesting things happen in my office, but that's rare. Most sessions, they just flow easily. Clients are really easy. But go back to what I was saying. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. You know, have a discussion. If you guys agree with me, if you agree with me. If you don't, if you want to argue, then great. Leave that in the comment section. I'll reply and I'll let you guys know. You know, there's nobody's right or wrong in this. Everything I'm saying, it's not based on my opinion of hypnosis or what I think. It's just simply fact. This information isn't purely mine alone. I didn't just conjure it and write it up in a textbook. It's coming from legitimate sources, from psychologists, psychiatrists, other hypnotherapists, you know, my teachers, and so on. So, you know, like I said, let me know in the comment section. Let what you guys think, and spread this video around so that way other people can learn the truth about hypnosis and not what they think of how it works as this big, scary, magical thing that's out there that some people can get into and other people can't. But let me know also what happens in the Oscars. I'll be watching it live, but I want to see what happens at the Oscars around this movie. So I really look forward to seeing that. I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys in the next video as well. Bye-bye. Bye for now.